Welcome to the Poison Culture Podcast, where people of interest start our news. Have you ever watched one of those ghost hunting shows on TV and have been totally creeped out? I used to be a huge skeptic of the paranormal. That is until I've seen things that I truly just can't explain. On today's episode, I have a special guest with me, my brother, Ty Gregory, and we discuss some of the mysterious phenomenon that we have both witnessed. We grew up on the Windrush Farm, a place that you wouldn't expect or should have any haunting experiences. But as you're going to hear, we have plenty of eerie, true accounts of things that go bump in the dark. So I got my brother Ty here. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Hey, no worries. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, for sure. For anyone listening who doesn't know, we grew up on the Windrush Farm. And for years since we've been there, we've always kind of seen some weird stuff that we just can't explain.
Some different things that just happen.
So let's just get right into it. I'll start off with one of my stories. From where our house is to where the main road is, there's a pretty long driveway. It's probably, what you say, about a quarter mile?
Yep, it's a quarter mile.
So my bedroom window faces down the driveway, down to that road. And normally you know when you see cars going down, the headlights and all that. There was one night I was looking out the window and I saw these green lights go right across our field. Like probably an orb or something, maybe the size of, I don't know, a tire, around that size-wise, but green, and it was going vertical.
Like from your window and across the road.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like it went vertical and then it went horizontal. Wow. Like, strange. Like, I cannot explain it for the life of me. There's nobody down there. There's, it's just an empty, open field. What those lights were, I can't explain.
And green. Like, describe the green.
It was like a Granny Smith apple green.
Oh.
But, like, it had, when it moved, it had, like, the lights, like, the tail of it.
The trail.
The trail.
Yeah.
It is something to this day, I cannot explain what it was.
Yeah.
And it's not like the farm is old in any sense like that. Like, there shouldn't be any like hauntings or anything out there, but unfortunately there is. We've seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Whether it's on some indigenous burial ground and who knows, like,
who knows?
There's some weird juju happening there. Yeah. And it's not like we are like guys that go out and be like, oh, we're going to be ghost hunters or anything like this. Like, for me, I've never believed in this stuff.
No.
And in some parts of me, I still choose not to believe in this stuff. But when some of these stories that you'll listen to come up, it's like, whoa, okay, what's going on? Like, Is there something else out there? Or is there, spirits or what is going on? Yeah.
Like, I'm always a ghost skeptic. And when I watch those ghost hunting TV shows, I know they are just absolutely 100% full of it, because the reactions you get from those people are not the reactions that I've had when I've seen stuff go down.
No, that's right. That's right. I know you'll get into some of your stories, but one that just comes up in my mind with reaction was, I was about 7 or 8, and, our great grandpa, he just passed away, and he was, 83 or however old he was. And anyways, being 7 or 8, we had bunk beds in our bedroom.
Yep.
And I remember I climbed up on the top bunk, and you weren't there. I don't know where you were, but anyways, I was just going to bed, crawling into bed, and I felt just something tickle across my back. So when you're 7 or 8 years old and you feel something graze against your back and tickle your back, instantly got scared and, ran to mom and dad and like, oh my God, like something just tickled my back. Like, what the hell? And, it was summer, it was hot, and, mom said, oh, maybe it was just a moth in your bed or something, just like tickle your back.
Yeah.
And, I was convinced, and probably till to this day, I'm convinced, like, oh, okay, was that some kind of spirit or is that, great grandpa or whatever, but you just, at a young age, it kind of gets your mind kind of wandering, right?
Like, I've had something poke me in the side, and you think, oh, somebody's there poking you, or it's the dog or the cat or whatnot, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing, and you're just sitting there stone cold in fear. You have no reaction at the time because you're just like wondering what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just can't explain it.
Yeah. And that's why, like, when I was 7 or 8, when that event happened, you're in almost like awe or shock or complete fear as well. So yeah, I could totally tell when you say, these guys on TV, how big of a reaction is it? How much of it is staged? Because I know some of the instances I've had, and you've got some more stories, but it's complete shock.
Oh yeah, I mean, in the same bedroom, years down the road, I was probably 15, 16 years old, and middle of the night, probably 2 or 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden the light switch flicks on, and the lights are on, and I stand up on my bed, like wide awake, like, how did the light turn on? It shouldn't have turned on.
Yeah.
Like, you have to flick that switch.
Oh yeah, and it made a creak.
Yeah.
Like, reek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there again, dead in the middle of the night. You're woken up because the light turned on. You're frozen in fear, and you can't do anything.
Yeah. And the thing too, you're 15, 16, you said?
Yeah.
When you're 15 and 16, you are old enough to know better, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're at that age where you're like, wow, I'm going to go out and, have a beer and be cool. And,
Yeah.
You're not thinking, oh, man, I'm just going to be a little wuss here and, pee your bed because you saw a ghost or something in the closet, right? No, like,
No.
You know better, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's real.
Yeah.
And probably a few years after that, that time when you're asleep, but you're almost awake?
Yep.
And you're just kind of in the in-between there?
Yeah, you're dozing.
I to this day, I cannot explain it, but the bed started shaking. And I thought, immediate reaction, you're still dreaming, but are you dreaming it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I was woken by my bed violently shaking. And we don't live on a fault line or earthquakes or anything like that. There's nothing around us.
Yeah.
Again, I cannot explain it, but I will always remember that sensation and that feeling of waking up because I'm shaking.
Yeah.
And it's not me. It's the actual bed, my mattress.
Yeah, yeah. And I've heard that story before, and I remember, I think, you hid under the covers or whatever and went into a full sweat because you're scared. And even Mom, she says, well, something had to have happened, because when you are under the sheets and you're in a full sweat, you left like a body part, like body imprint of sweat in your bed. And even Mom's going, holy shit, something happened, right?
I was petrified.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was probably a few years after that bed incident where I was in the living room listening to some music on some headphones. And everyone was outside, out front, just in the front yard. And I was the only one in the house. And all of a sudden, just a terrifying, petrifying scream came from somebody behind me, like screamed at my ears. And I whipped the headphones off and looked behind me to see, like, what is going on. And again, nothing. And I cannot explain to you what I heard or anything. And nobody outside heard anything. But I remember rushing outside and going to my mom, like, somebody screamed at me, like something screamed at me,
Yeah.
And nobody can explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. She still talks about that story.
Oh, yeah. But it's just, again, you're petrified in fear.
Yeah.
There's no, outlandish reaction, but you're just like, something screamed. What do I do? Get out of the house.
Yeah. That fight or flight. And
Yeah.
when nothing's there to fight, you flight.
You battle or you skedaddle.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I know Mom still talks about that story too, just how petrified you were when you came to her as well. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Just something, right?
Yeah.
So one of the stories that I have, and it, I was cowboying in BC for a little while. Graduated college, went to BC for a stint, and anyways, there's full woods, like you're right in the interior of BC, and it's dark. It's summertime. It's dark, so quite late at night, and I had to get out of my pickup truck to open some gates to get into the ranch that I was working at, and so I stopped the truck. I go get out, and I go unlatch these big heavy wooden gates, and anyways, I saw this light and it caught the corner of my eye, and I actually turned around and looked at it for a while, and I was like, well, who's coming up behind me? Another set of headlights, or, who's behind me? It's quite late at night.
Yeah.
And, as soon as I turned around to look at it, and I still got it in my vision as I'm turning around, and I get like this split second look of it, and it's this bright white light. And, it couldn't really make out a shape or anything like that, but, so I follow it from the corner of my eye, and I actually look at it, and then for a split second, and it's there, and then it just vanished.
Oh, really?
Disappeared. And it was bright enough where I actually thought it was another set of headlights behind me. I was really like, at first, like, oh, who's that?
Yeah.
Like, who followed me? Who's behind me? Like,
yeah.
Cool. I'll get the gate and leave it open for them, right?
The brain thinks of logical things.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, as soon as I turned around, and it's not like, oh, I turned around and it was gone. Like, I actually saw it for like a split second and then it vanished. So I was like, that gets your mind going. So you're like, okay, am I going crazy? It's like something happening in my brain.
You're out in the middle of nowhere. You're alone.
Yeah, that's right.
And now there's lights appearing.
That's right. So, you hop in the truck, and then you're kind of like, oh, I feel safe in my truck, even though this like orb light is coming at you, like you're safe in a truck. But yeah, you go through the gate, get it back out, shut the gate, and then race home, because you're like, holy moly, like, what did I just see? What is this? Does it mean anything? Like, yeah, you saw it, and were you hurt? No. It goes back to that fight or flight. Like, is there a reason to fight? No. But yeah, you get home and try to forget you saw something, because it's like nobody's gonna believe you anyways.
Well,
right?
Yeah. I think that's a good point to make, is that I've spent a lot of my time trying to forget everything I've seen. Mm-hmm. It's not normal.
No, especially when it's in your home, because you live there, and you almost have to forget it because you want to go back in.
Yeah.
Or enjoy your time there, and not think, holy, like, what scary thing is going to happen now.
For sure. I know another story I have was, again, everyone's outside on the farm, and I look inside towards the house, and when you look through the kitchen window, you can see the kitchen, but you can also see the window to the other side of the house. So you can see right through the house. And I remember seeing somebody inside, and I thought it was our sister, and somebody walking in there. And then I look over, and I can see everyone, all our family members, mom, dad, you, our sister, everyone's outside. So somebody's in the house. What could it be? Mm-hmm. So I go in there and try and investigate. I go right into the mudroom, nobody. Walk down the hallway, nobody. In the kitchen, nobody. Look through the living room, all the bedrooms, nobody. Nobody's in the house. But I know for a fact that whatever was there was blocking my view from the window to the other side, straight through the house.
Yeah.
There was something there.
Yeah.
And my mind's not playing tricks on me. I know what I saw.
Yeah. That's wild.
I can't explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think a lot of this comes from our own subconscious, from hearing the Unsolved Mysteries theme tune when we were little?
I've always thought about that too, because I've always been an avid, Unsolved Mysteries, watching the ghost hunting shows and all that. Mm-hmm. You kind of wonder, is it something in the back of my mind wanting these things to play out?
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. No, that's right. Especially when you're in a very active area. Yeah. And you do not want these things to happen.
No. It's not like you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I really wish I had a haunting today.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah, that's right. So, a few years ago now, I used to live in a house that the person who originally lived there, like, I don't know if he homesteaded it or what, but he put the house on there. Anyways, he passed away. And the family actually buried him pretty much in the backyard.
No way.
Yeah. And I don't know if he was actually cremated and put back there, but there's like a wooden like planter box that was like the shape of what a grave would be like. So I don't know if his body's there. I hope not. But yeah, I'm sure they got cremated and put there. But nonetheless, just out back behind the house, there was this person.
Yeah.
And, he lived there for a couple months. Nothing ever happened. And then, things just started happening. And weird things. And the kind we first noticed it was electrical.
Oh, yeah.
And we thought, okay, it's an old house, was there, the power lines or whatever, what's with the electrical grid or anything like that. But especially in the bathroom, the lights would flicker.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd flicker like, just flutter. And almost to the point where the lights would like shut right off and then come back on. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. Must be something to do with the electrical grid, right?
Yeah.
You try to place, real theories on these things, like something that could actually possibly be. And so, change out light bulbs as well, because you're like, okay, well, maybe that light's, ready to give out. And
yeah.
So change that light bulb. And, maybe for a week, nothing happens. You're like, okay, problem fixed, right?
Yeah.
Till it starts happening again. And then one day, the lights would flicker, and then the light would actually shut off. And we kind of figured, well, okay, maybe this is something maybe spiritual, right?
Right.
So you say, well, I know you're here. Can you turn the lights back on? And then when those lights go back on, when you say that, it sends chills right down you. Like, I even got goosebumps right now just even talking about it, because I don't talk about this stuff. But
no.
Yeah, you say, well, okay, I know you're here. I see that you shut the lights off. Can you turn the lights back on? Well, the lights would come back on. Then you'd wait a second, just stunned. Then you'd say, oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you for turning on the lights. I know you're still here. If you could kindly turn them off again, could you turn them off? I kid you not. These lights turn off.
Yeah.
You want to talk about scary?
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, thanks. Turn the lights back on. Turn the lights back on, right?
Yeah.
Just quickly, come on. Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, I know you're here. Okay, goodbye, right?
Yeah.
So you do that, and you almost get a little bit of comfort, too, because you're like, okay, well, this is like a friendly ghost, because you didn't shut off the lights and then try to, murder me. Right?
Yeah, you're showing no harm.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're showing your presence.
Yeah, that's right. So you get a little bit of comfort that way, going, okay, well, this thing's not going to hurt me. It's there, but okay, we're kind of safe. Then, a couple weeks go past and nothing happens. And then you go to bed and you just be asleep and you don't know if you're dreaming once again, right?
Yeah.
And you'd hear this knock on the headboard just above your head, and it'd be like, and you go, oh, okay, what was that? Now I'm awake, right?
Yeah.
You wait, maybe 2 minutes, and just these little taps. And you go, okay, I know there's somebody here. If you are here and you're present, can you tap on the headboard like 4 times? Yeah. And you want to talk about chills, especially because you're trying to go to sleep. Well, there ain't no way you're going to sleep now, right?
Hell no.
And being that close, like your head's on the pillow and it's knocking on the headboard, like tap, 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 tap. Ask it to go away, and it did. So it, once again, is that in my head? Am I making this up, or did I actually hear what I wanted, or like what I heard?
Yeah,
right. Like just chills, absolute chills
for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to live here no more.
No, and it did. It finally got to the point where it's like, nah, we're done. Like, yeah. Because so this is like the peak of the podcast. Like for me, anyways, my story is, same house, and it was dead of winter, and it's noon. So I mean, it's not even like scary time.
Yeah,
like this is noon, like lunchtime. Like, man, let's get some grilled cheeses on the pan and let's eat, right?
Yeah.
Like nothing scary at noon, right?
No.
You're thinking about lunch, right? And so anyways, we're, getting ready to make some lunch or whatever the hell we were doing. And we heard some footsteps and some running through the house. Now, the way this house was set up, you go from the bedroom to the living room, through the kitchen, and then you turn into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we all of a sudden heard like just this pitter patter of like running footsteps. So it's like on the floor.
Yeah.
And it went from the bedroom through the living room, through the kitchen, and pitter patter into the bathroom. Now you think, okay, that was scary.
How do you explain that?
You heard what you heard. And multiple people were in that room and heard that.
Right.
The scary bit was we had this like motion sensor air freshener in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So you walk into the bathroom, fresh and clean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, pitter patter. So from the bedroom to the living room, through the kitchen, and into the bathroom. And as soon as those footsteps hit the bathroom, the motion sensor air freshener goes off.
No.
Oh, yes. And I have witnesses. Like, it's not just me that heard that or saw that. There's some witnesses that were there that can verify and back that story up. Like, that was almost the pivotal point and the pivotal moment where it's like, okay, if anything else was just a figment of my imagination and my head's just twisting everything in that, when it's lunchtime, when it's noontime, like,
Yeah.
it's not scary hour at all, and that kind of stuff starts happening.
Yeah. No.
Like, nah.
Yeah.
No, we're done. That's it. So, and it wasn't actually, I'd say keep saying a few weeks later, but a few weeks after that event, you know, it was the evening, and I have my guitar stand. It was sitting in the corner of the living room. So an acoustic guitar. And anyways, just out of the blue, out of nowhere, one of my strings rings.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what was that? Like,
Yeah.
How does a guitar on a guitar stand sitting in the corner of a room with nobody near it, one guitar string
Yeah.
starts just ringing? And I'm like, whoa. And my musical ear goes, that was not an open note.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I go on my guitar and it's my D string, like 3rd fret.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the exact tone that was like going off. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
There's enough audible tones and happenings here that
visual, audible, like, it's just, yeah. And, you know, honestly, since leaving that place, like, my paranormal experiences have pretty much like nothing. No,
Yeah.
like nothing has happened to me. Haven't had any experience after that. Don't really want one until about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. At the farm, again, in that house, I know I've seen orbs in my bedroom, in the living room, ever since I've grown up. Probably once a year, you know, at different times of the year, you'll see a light. Always dark, all that, and you'll see a light. Mm-hmm. And you were finally able to see one.
Yep. So I was sitting with my parents and watching TV and, you know, chatting with them. And so you sit on the one couch and Mom's got her computer desk and she sits in her computer chair and it's right behind. And anyways, you the way you're sitting and situated on that couch, you can keep one eye kind of through the hallway that goes down the hallway. And Mom, she's usually, you know, she's got this little mirror that she has her, you know, plucking and primping and preening herself, making herself look pretty. And anyways, I saw this like light, and it's like if you were, you know, shining a mirror at the sun kind of deal, but if you're shining this mirror at the light and you create this kind of light in the hallway.
Yeah.
So I saw this out of the corner of my eye, and then I look and it's there. And then I look at my mom because I'm like, are you like,
what are you doing?
Twisting the light and making these things shine? Like, what's going on? And anyways, I look back into the, because she's not doing anything, or she's not holding her mirror or anything. And I look back, and then the orb or this light that I saw is gone. And then I look back at my mom, and I was like, tell me you saw that.
Yeah.
Like, you saw that. She's like, saw what? I'm like, oh my, tell me you saw that. Like,
yeah.
And just the way her computer chair where she was sitting, like, she wouldn't have saw it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I thought you were like screwing around and dicking around with your mirror. Like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
But no. And I'm like, so we actually swore to secrecy on that day. Like, we never speak of this again because I don't want anything more to happen.
Yeah.
In that house.
But what color was it?
Pure white.
Yeah.
Pure white.
See, I've seen pure white, and I've seen like a shade of green and a shade of red.
Yeah.
It's unexplainable. It's in a house.
Yeah.
It can't be anything besides something unexplainable. So weird. If you at home have ever experienced a spirit box, or if you know what one is, it's like a little radio that I guess paranormal ghosts or whatever can communicate with you through. And because I've seen enough of this stuff, I actually got one. And, I figured...
You got a spirit box?
Yeah, dude.
I've never found out about this.
For a good reason. Because I decided, you know what, I'm just going to get one, just play around with it, see what happens. So I turn it on, and it's just radio frequencies. It sounds like you're just dialing through the radio station. So it's like
Just static.
And random gibberish going on through it.
Okay.
So I turn it on, and I say, hi, I just want to communicate, whatever. And all I'm hearing is just the radio static and all that.
So where are you at when you're doing this?
I'm actually at the farm.
Okay.
In the barn.
Yeah.
And so I'm pointing at a piece of metal, and that metal is painted orange. So I say, in the spirit box, if there's anyone there, can you tell me what I'm pointing at and what color it is? So all you hear is of the radio static. And then you hear metal, orange.
No.
I turned it off so fast. And I was like, there's no way I heard what I heard.
Yeah.
No. I can't explain it.
You're giving me chills.
I didn't believe that those would work.
Yeah.
I was a skeptic.
Yeah.
But when that happened, I turned it off, I put it away, and I've never taken it out again.
Really? You still have it?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, we should play with it.
No.
Yeah.
Because when that happens, just by chance, I don't know, can't explain it, that is too kooky and freaky for me.
Yeah. No kidding.
Never again on myself.
Holy. I can't believe that. That gave me chills when you telling me that.
Yeah. Like, to have it say the object and then the color as well.
Yeah. Like 2 verification points.
Yeah.
Holy.
It makes you wonder.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, I used to live in Olds, and we lived in this old house. I think it was built in 1906.
It was a cool house.
The front door actually had a skeleton key to it. And that should have been my first clue about this house.
Yeah.
Never buy a house that comes with a skeleton key.
Yeah. Like all scary movies or horror movies comes with a skeleton key.
Yeah. Like the attic was really cool because the entire attic was, it was a rain basin in upstairs there. So when it used to collect rainwater for their house water back in the day.
Yeah.
But it wasn't long before strange things used to happen there. We have 2 dogs, and the dogs would constantly look in the corners of the house, up towards the attic. And we had a downstairs there, and my one dog would just look down the stairs and start growling, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
She was picking up on something there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. Like, we were in the living room one day, and you always hear about the stories about books and stuff flying off the bookshelf, and you're like, whatever. Until it happens to you. Mm-hmm. One afternoon, like you said, noon.
Yeah.
It's not even scary hour.
Yeah.
And a book came flying off our bookshelf, landed right in the middle of the living room. Big thud. Can't explain it.
Ugh.
Nothing around, nothing to, give the physics to give a book to give distance to fly off the shelf like that.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
Yeah.
And the door handles there too. Especially to the basement door handle, it would jiggle and rattle.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, okay, old house, the weather's changing, maybe wind outside, things are fluxing, handles are jiggling,
Yeah.
until it's not windy out and it's perfect weather conditions. And the dog is looking at the door and starting to growl.
Yeah.
And the door handle's jiggling.
That's unreal.
And it was like, no, I've had about enough of this.
Yeah. It's amazing too, like pets and how intuitive they are.
They are so in tune.
And how we don't give them enough credit for that, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially dogs, and I'm a dog lover and nothing against cats, but sometimes you see a cat staring off and you're like, a dumb cat, right?
Yeah.
But you got one or two, right?
Well, cats are, I don't want to say half evil, but they've, I don't know how to really explain it off the cuff, but they have some connections to the underworld.
Yeah. They've danced with the devil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at witchcraft, a lot of witchcraft derived from black cats and all that.
Yeah.
A lot of history behind that as well.
Yeah.
But cats were derived as, a being of half spirituality and half evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
And look at the Egyptians.
Yeah. True.
They love their cats.
Yeah.
And they were divine to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
well,
I know I have 3 cats now, and I'm glad for that, because I know that if I'm seeing stuff and they're so in tune with their surroundings, where if they're not freaking out, I'm not freaking out.
Yeah. But when the kitty gets frisky,
Time to run. Battle or skedaddle.
That's right.
Well, that's our episode here on the haunting of Windrush Farm and other places. Ty, thank you so much for sharing your stories with me.
Hey, no worries. It was actually fun to relive some of these events, and hopefully we didn't open a door tonight.
For sure. I hope I can sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys can too. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Poison Culture Podcast. Thanks again to my guest Ty for coming over. Follow us on Instagram at Poison Culture Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Gregory. And as always, until next time, stay spooky.